Welcome, everyone. Thank you for checking out this episode of Really Dicey. Today, we're going to review and talk about the new Sourcebook from Modifius Entertainment, the Delta Quadrant Sourcebook for the Star Trek role-playing game. I was excited for this to come our way. I know we talked about wanting to see more content, especially since a lot of the other sourcebooks you kind of need them all for it to really work, in my opinion.
Well, it's a high quality book, like the rest of their books. Beautiful illustrations. It's really, in some sense, it's kind of Voyager the source book, because all of the information
Yes.
comes from that one show. But it's actually a lot more than just Voyager, and it's really kind of the setting of Voyager that doesn't really have a lot of information. It doesn't have any information about Voyager itself. So it's not about Voyager. It's about the Delta Quadrant. It's just that everything we know about the Delta Quadrant came from the show Voyager.
Yeah.
Well, almost.
Yeah. So it's interesting reading this. It's a lot of it I remember. A lot of it I don't know. Man, this book. It's again, it's jam packed full of information. So I've done graphic design, and when sometimes when you have a 10-page layout and you don't have enough written information for like 5 pages, what a trick that graphic designers do is just fill the rest of the pages with art, graphs, or whatever you can find, so you can expand it to 10 pages. I didn't feel that way about this book. This book, there's so much text in it, is that it was no room for pictures. Sometimes they'll have there's sections on alien races that you can play. A lot of it is either you know it or you got to Google it to find out what exactly they are. They do a good job describing it, but a lot of it was like, I don't remember this, and so I have to kind of like Google it and find out what they were. So this is a standalone by itself. If I wasn't role playing or using that book for that, it's a great resource book for like all the alien races that they've encountered. It's a good collection of information.
Yeah, it is jammed packed with information, and it covers everything. It is really. I actually really enjoy Voyager. I'll admit that the first time around when it was on television, I wasn't that deep into it. But watching it again on Netflix, I'm on my second viewing now. I mean, I'm kind of jumping through it. I'm not watching, but I've watched the whole thing through on Netflix. I actually really enjoy it. This book really just has everything. It is amazing how much, it's, like you said, even if you never were going to play the game, it is just an incredible resource, an Easter egg hunt through the series. And, oh, wait, those guys were kind of in the background, the one series, and here's a whole write-up for them. And, not only that, it goes beyond the show. It details races, further than we see in the show. There's these guys. I just saw the episode Voth. They're it's a great story. They're evolved dinosaurs who left Earth, before the extinction event.
Yeah.
And they traveled to Delta Quadrant, and they, there's a whole story about them. But anyway, it's just one episode. But in that one episode, we just kind of learned that they're very, very advanced, technologically advanced, in an offhanded way. They just kind of throw it out in the episode. But this book details all that. It actually details all that information. You can take these guys who showed up in one episode and turn them into, play them as the power they are in the Delta Quadrant.
Yeah, this book, I felt like some role-playing books tend to hold your hand in a way to kind of guide you through how a world or setting works. I didn't feel that way at all about this book. It's definitely made for hardcore Trekkie fans. I feel like I could read this book and I could do a True Pursuit game afterwards, just on Voyager, and have a decent chance of winning.
No, it was a great book. And the information, the other thing. So I said before that this could be the Voyager source book. The other thing it could be is the Borg source book. It has a
Yep.
tremendous amount of information on the board, adding all sorts of things that never appeared in Voyager or anywhere else. Different kinds of
Yeah,
Borgs, different kinds of ships, all sorts of stuff. You know,
yeah. This is and it's great because I think, I mean, the Borg is the one thing I think people want to face against in Star Trek. It's just so popular, and so
yeah,
again, I
yeah,
loved reading about that, and they get so into they even do their best to kind of uh, a lot of the like how should I say it? You know how like sometimes the movies will contradict what happened in in the
yeah,
episodes. They'll try
yep,
their best to kind of balance that. With the Borg Queen, for example. Like adding that in, how to explain all that. I thought they did a great job, and
yeah,
reconciling that.
yeah. No, they did. They did a great job.
Yeah.
Um,
So yeah, there's tons of things. Even besides the Borg, they have like different warships from different races. There's so much, uh, and I like this because I think this is like, if I were to play Star Trek, I would
yep,
play at the Delta because it seems like such a big unknown. There's so many possible horrible things that can happen there, and I just can't wait to bring
yeah,
players into that.
yeah. Well, they say that in the game. They say that maybe more so than any place else in any of the quadrants, the Delta Quadrant is the big unknown with the most room for you to expand. And they they have these wonderful little in-universe asides where they have Cardassians talking about the Borg or somebody in Starfleet talking about
Hmm.
something else. And I'm usually not a big fan of gaming fiction, uh, but those are really well done. They really invoke the universe, and actually, some of them really make some good points. There's this one little aside from a Starfleet anthropologist, and he says, "Well, Voyager's great and all, and they did a wonderful job, and I've read all their reports, but." When they tell us about a race, they're telling us about a single incident with a small group of individuals. This may not reflect the entire race.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's a wonderful bit of fiction, but it also kind of drives home the point that as the game master, you can expand this. Are the Herodian all crazy hunters? Maybe not. Maybe that's just one part of their civilization that Voyager ran into. Maybe they have you know, a big religious pacifist community. Who knows? Voyager
Yeah.
was running through the Delta Quadrant. It didn't stop to explore it. I mean, there did a lot of that, but most of it was, you know. So the book really, really kind of, uh, really kind of gives you license to expand on things. And there's a part of the book that says you could run. They put forward the idea that you could run an entire non-Starfleet game. You could run a game in the Delta Quadrant with natives of the Delta Quadrant that doesn't have anything to do with humanity.
Yeah.
It would be like a completely different game, you know, in the Star Trek universe, but nothing to do with Starfleet. I was like, well, that's interesting. That's
Mm.
kind of cool.
Now, I also like that they have, of all the life path choices that they had,
Hmm.
that you could choose for your character.
Yeah, they
Uh,
introduced some new
Liberator
ones.
Borg.
Yep.
Liberator Borg, I think it's the one that stands out to me as my favorite. The rest of them sound okay, but again, my it's been a while again since I watched Voyager,
Hmm.
um, and even then it wasn't the whole way through. So some of them
Sure.
sound okay to me, but of course, Liberator Borg just to me is like, all right, if I have to play anything right now, I will play that.
Well, I like the fact that they had a section on playing unique characters and non-Starfleet
Yeah,
characters, because as Voyager goes through the quadrant, they pick up people, right? They pick up Neelix and they pick up Seven and
yeah,
Nine, and people who are not Starfleet. So they say you can play non-Starfleet characters in this game. This game advances the default timeline. Time frame in the
yes,
game is actually advanced till the end of the Voyager series. So Voyager has returned to Earth. Um, and so they detail different ways that you can get your Starfleet people to the Delta Quadrant, including some of that new technology like the transwarp and the conduits and all that sort of stuff. And and they pick up on all sorts of little things. Like the beginning of the series, it's revealed that the caretaker who grabbed Voyager and threw them in the Delta Quadrant actually tried that with a lot of other people. So you could be one of
Yeah.
the other ships that happened. You could be from a wandering wormhole. All sorts of things happen. You they also have they also have options for playing in any era. So you can actually play
Yes.
the original series in the Delta Quadrant. You can play
Yeah.
the
I was
Enterprise.
very surprised how
Yeah.
well detailed the explanation is. It was just like, hey, you just have randomly be in there. They actually list. Well, they don't list the episodes. There's no footnotes for those, which I kind
No,
of wish there
no.
was.
Yeah, you
But
kind of
they
have to
go ahead and
know this.
explain like they explain to you like, all right, these instances that happened throughout different series, and like and how that could have been related to how your characters during those eras are connected to the Delta Quadrant. I thought that was very well done.
Yes, I am continually impressed by how well these guys know and care and love Star Trek. It
Yeah.
is really amazing, particularly
Now, one thing.
compared to
uh,
some other things
I'm sorry.
that I won't mention.
um, One thing I've noticed is that the art is fantastic, like you mentioned before. What's
Yep,
interesting is that a lot of the art is very like action heavy,
well,
but
that's true.
the text don't really reflect that so much. It's that
Yeah.
what I really like about this book is that it emphasizes exploration. Yeah, it's very dangerous out there, and yeah,
Hmm.
there definitely combat possibilities, but it really emphasizes on the aspect of exploration that you're out there to seek out new life forms.
Yeah, no, it is fantastic. It is a great, it's a really, really good book.
So yeah, it again, it has a lot of different races or life paths, as they call it here. A lot
Yep.
of different ships. There in the back, they have instead of having adventure or adventures.
Yeah, so instead of giving you a whole planned out, one whole worked out adventure, they give you, several different seeds that you can take and develop into adventures, which I actually really like. I prefer that. Give me a little
Yes,
something to kind of get me started, but I can do all the grunt work myself. I'll put all that in. I prefer to do it myself, but the ideas are
yeah,
nice. Yeah.
yeah. Again, I feel like this book is instead of being very introductory, is to say, hey, listen, you bought this book because you love Delta Quad, you love Star Trek. So here, we're going to give you what you need, and that's it. We're not going to baby you or anything like that. We're going to give you the most information you can so you can run this setting in the best way possible.
Yeah, definitely. I think so. Yep. If I had to give this
Excellent.
a
And yeah,
rating,
so
and I do, I would
yes,
give this an intelligence score of 18. I really cannot
yeah,
imagine how this book could be better. If you
I,
love Star Trek, if you love the Star Trek role playing game, even if you don't actually, even if you don't play the game, this is a good book. So,
yeah, yeah. It's worthy for your collection, whether you role play or not.
yeah,
If you love Star
definitely.
Trek, this book is for you.
Yep, I should say so. Go on and get the book. Hey, live
So
long and
yes,
prosper.
thank you everyone. Please like and subscribe, and let us know what you think in the comments below. And have a great day.